हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल। जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिजाकाचार्य स्तोत्र शत श्री श्रीमती डिवाइन ग्रेस अभय चरणारविंद शिल प्रभुपाद की, अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की, नामाचार्य शिला हरदास ठाकुर की, प्रेम से गौ श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की, राधा गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरी गोवर्धन की, वृंदावन मथुरा धाम की, उदीप मायापुर धाम की, गंगा माय यमुना माय की, तुलसी देवी भक्ति देवी की, प्रोपार ट्रांसेंडेंटल बुक डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन की, प्रोपार ट्रांसेंडेंटल प्रसादम डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन की, इस्कॉन फाउंडर आचार्य शिला प्रभुपाद की, सामवेद गौर भक्त वृंद की, ताई गौर सीतानाथ प्रेमानंदे। All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories, all glories, all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. ISKCON founder Acharya Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki. Hare Krishna. Welcome to today's Bhagavatam class. I offer my humble obeisances unto the Vaishnava devotees present here. Please bless me so the correct words can decorate my tongue, and may Lord give me the empowerment so that I can do justice to Srila Prabhupada's beautiful purports. We are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 24, Text 73. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayana Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswati Vyasam Tato Jaya Udirayet Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavat Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Neshtaki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna. Please repeat after me. Devayam nodita sarve. Devayam nodita sarve. Praja sarge prajeshvara. Praja sarge prajeshvara. Anena dvashta tamasah. Anena dvashta tamasah. Srikshmo vividha prajah. Srikshmo vividha prajah. Devayam nodita sarve. Praja sarge prajeshvara. Anena dvashta tamasa. Shishrikmo vividha praja. Devayam nodita sarve. Praja sarge prajeshvara. Anena dvashta tamasa. Sisrikshmo vividha praja. Prabhuji, if you could kindly read. Devayam nodita sarve. प्रजा सर्वे प्रजेश्वरः। देवायां नोदिता सर्वे सर्वे प्रजेश्वरः। नोदिता सर्वे Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki word to word translation. Te, by him. Vayam, all of us. Nodita, ordered. Sarve, all. Praja Sarge, at the time of creating population. Praja Ishvara, the controllers of all living entities. Anena, by this. Dvashta Tamasa, being freed from all kinds of ignorance. Sisriksha Sma, we created. Vividaha, various kinds of. Praja, living entities. Translation. When all the Prajāpatis were ordered to create by Lord Brahmā, we chanted these prayers in praise of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and became completely free from all ignorance. Thus, we were able to create different types of living entities. In this verse, we can understand the various types of living entities were created simultaneously at the very beginning of creation. The nonsensical Darwinian theory of evolution is not applicable here. It is not that intelligent human beings did not exist millions of years ago. On the contrary, it is understood that the most intelligent creature, Lord Brahmā, was first created. Then Lord Brahmā created other saintly sages like Marichi, Bhrigu, Atreya, Vashishta and Lord Shiva. They are in turn created different types of bodies according to karma. In Srimad Bhagavatam, Lord Kapila Dev told his mother that the living entities gets a particular type of body in accordance with his work and that this body is decided upon by higher authorities. The higher authorities as appointed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead are Lord Brahmā and all other Prajāpatis and Manus. Thus, from the beginning of creation it can be seen that the first creature is the most intelligent. It is not that so-called modern intelligence has developed by the gradual process of evolution. As stated in Brahma Vaivarta Purana, there is a gradual evolutionary process. But it is not that the body is evolving. All bodily forms are already there. It is the spiritual entity or the spiritual spark within the body that is being produced by the laws of nature under the supervision of superior authority. We can understand from this verse that from the very beginning of creation, different varieties of living entities were existing. It is not that some of them have become extinct. Everything is there. It is due to our lack of knowledge that we cannot see things in the proper perspective. In this verse, the word Dvashta Tamasa is very important. For without being free of ignorance, one cannot control creation of different types of living entities. As stated in the Srimad Bhagavatam 3.31.1, Daiva Netrena, bodies are awarded under the supervision of superior powers. How can these superior powers control the evolutionary process of living entity if they are not free from all imperfection? The followers of Vedic instructions cannot accept the Darwinian theory of evolution, for it is married by imperfect knowledge. To Mangalacharan. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. Welcome to today's Bhagavatam class. Very interesting translation. I'll just read that again. When all Prajāpatis were ordered to create by Lord Brahma, he chanted these prayers in praise of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and became completely free from all ignorance. Thus, we were able to create different types of living entity. What we are reading currently is the Rudra Gita. Very interesting chapter. This is one of the biggest chapters I've seen. It's got around 79 verses. We are on verse 73. And this is where Lord Shiva glorifies the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We should see a recurring theme in the Bhagavatam, which starts about the creation. Like if you see from the first or especially the second canto, mainly talks about how the Supreme Personality of Godhead created this material world. It talks about all Mahatattva, how it is the intermingling of the three modes of material nature, and then based on the Mahatattva, when the Lord impregnates the Mahatattva with his glance, then based on the activities, the living entities which were, were suppressed, when the creation again begins, they take up bodies based on their modes of material nature, based on their activities, based on their desires, right? And then what is interesting is in the third chapter, we further see how, the entire thing happens where Brahma comes out from the navel of Vishnu, and then Brahma is very confused. He sees all this darkness around him and he says, what is this creation? Where am I? He has no idea where he is. And for so many millions of years, he's just traveling around in empty, dark space, trying to find out what is the purpose of his creation, what is the purpose, what is this universe around him. Finally, he hears two syllables, ta and pa, tapa. When he performs austerities for so many celestial years, finally he gets vision of Vaikuntha. He sees the Lord decorated with beautiful jewelry, beautiful garlands of flowers, with shining yellow robes, with the Kaustumani hanging beautifully on his chest. And he gets a glimpse of the Vaikuntha world. And then the Lord gives him the Chaturshloki Bhagavatam. It is said to be the summary of most of the crux of Srimad Bhagavatam. I'm doing a fast forward recap over here. Now in the third canto of Bhagavatam, it talks about how Brahma performed creation. So Lord did the primary creation. It's almost like when we want to buy furniture, we go to IKEA, right? And in IKEA, if you want to buy a bed, they won't give you a ready-made bed. They'll give you parts. They'll give you pieces. And then it's up to you. You have to go home, you have to read the manual, and based on that, you have to create this bed. So did Lord Brahma. Lord Brahma, due to his austerity, he was empowered by the Lord to take forward this responsibility of creation. Devatas are different from human beings in a way that Devatas are already self-realized souls, whereas we are conditioned by the modes of material nature. Devatas are not conditioned. They're completely self-realized souls, but due to a tinge of desire for material enjoyment, they are still in this material world. But since they're so self-realized, since they're so austere, since they're such great devotees of the Lord gives them responsibilities of the universe. They assign them different departments of the universe. Like Varuna, Agni, all of them are assigned the deities for particular aspects of the universe. Now the interesting thing is when Brahma, given his knowledge, creates this universe, he does the subtle creation, the secondary creation. He just assembles the parts. Lord has already created the Mahatattva. Lord has already created everything. He just assembles it. So we see right from Lord Brahma, different creatures come into existence. He creates the non-moving creepers, the trees. Then he creates these different types of animals, different types of species. He creates, and it's said for human beings, finally after creating all these different type of creatures, right? The four-legged animals, the reptiles, after creating all of this, finally Brahma wanted to replicate a creature which is looking like God. And thus he created the human being. One interesting point from this is, we usually think as human beings, a lot of people who are not very familiar with this culture, with this movement, they make fun. Oh, you've got two human beings standing on an altar and you're worshipping him. Why are you worshipping human beings? They look like human beings. You're trying to say God is human being? That is one reason that Mayavadis give as well. That God is just unfathomable. You can't even imagine how God will look like. So we just worship Nirakar, no form. We worship light. Because we can't imagine what Lord is, right? That is correct. But we should also see from Shastra Chakshu. Shastras have given beautiful and numerous descriptions of the Lord form. The entire Brahma Samhita is basically describing different parts of the Lord. Even in the morning when we're doing Darshanarti, this Govinda Adim Purisham, it's describing different aspects of the Lord. That, oh my Lord, Veno Kanda Aravindaya Taksha, that different senses, different parts of your body take the actions of different parts. Like he can see from his hand, he can taste from his eyes. When we offer prasad, the Lord is taking the food, he's accepting the prasad, but he's eating through his glance. Lord is not materially conditioned by us. So an interesting thing when I read that purport was that Lord actually has given us the fortune of taking a body which is slightly similar to him. We think that Lord has taken a body which is similar to us. When we see Krishna, Rama, they've got human-like body, so-called supposedly human-like body. 2 arms, 2 legs, nose, eyes, ears. So we think that they're human beings. Why are we worshipping human beings? A lot of, atheists give this point. But an interesting point which is given was, if I was to say, like for example, Shushant, I won't say Shushant's father looks like Shushant. I'll say Shushant looks like his father. Which means what? We have got these features, we have got these bodily features, but it is coming from a source. It's not like we are there and the source is now imitating us, which is what the Mayavadis think. The Mayavadis think all this Ram, Krishna, all of them are basically coming from Nirakar, impersonal Brahman. But when they want to perform activities, they take up a particular form, and at the end they all merge into the Supreme Brahman. And Prabhupada breaks down, Prabhupada through his purports, you'll see a recurring theme of destroying Mayavadis. Prabhupada says that sex desire is the strongest bond. It's like cement for the jivas, for the conditional souls. Because it's sex desire which makes us continuously play in this cycle of birth and death. How many of you have seen the hamster wheel? If you see in science laboratories, they have a hamster in a round wheel and they hang a bit of cheese. And this hamster thinks, oh wow, there's cheese in front of me, and it starts running, sprinting, right, harder and harder. And because of that movement, they get kinetic energy, which they use to fuel up many engines, right? What are they doing basically? The hamster thinks the cheese is just over there. I can just run a little more and grab it. And it doesn't realize because it's running more and more, the cycle is going on. It's just in a loop. But the hamster doesn't realize it. Why? Because it's conditioned. Similarly, us, the conditioned souls, we don't realize that we are in the cycle of karma, or the cycle of birth and death. We are just running in the same loop again and again and again. Now, one thing which is interesting is, once we finally break out of the loop, right? Once we stop chasing this so-called cheese, once we stop chasing these material desires, then we realize that actually, Jiva Swarupai Nitya Krishna Das, we are all eternal servitors of Krishna. But Prabhupada says sex desire is the strongest. Why? Because even after understanding this, we will fall down because of sex desire. Sex desire? Bro, I thought this was a religious conversation. I thought this was a spiritual topic. Why are we discussing about something as cheap and mundane as sex? But we don't realize that sex desire is the strongest bond. People who are self-realized, great rishis, great munis, great sannyasis have fallen down because of this desire. And Prabhupada says this sex desire causes more and more attachment. Why? Because a man takes up attraction for another opposite gender. And it's even current modern psychologists are admitting this fact. When there is a man, a group of men talking, and a female opposite gender walks in, then behavior naturally changes. They automatically try to pretend like they're this, they change their personality. I have practical experience of this. In my year 11th and 12th, I studied in a full boys boarding school. The only boys. I was doing brahmachari training before becoming a brahmachari also. So, in our school, once a year, we had a debate. And in that debate, they used to get people from different schools, nearby schools. Some used to come from Delhi, some from Calcutta, some from the same state, some from Mumbai. So all over the world, these people used to come. And now, not all schools are boys' schools, right? There are co-ed schools. Most of the schools are co-ed schools. We even had all-girls school coming into our college, into our school for debate. And it's very funny. Two of my friends were talking, and they were kind of like on the fatter side of the scale, we can say politely. Right? They had a nice golok on their below their chest, and they were talking with each other, and you could see their nice pot bellies hanging outside. And a Mataji walks in front of them. Right? She was going to the class or something like that. And the second she walks, he says, "They suck in the stomach," and they're trying to puff out their chest. I was seeing it from upstairs. It was like the most hilarious thing. They're sucking it, and the Mataji then stops over there because of some friend or something starts talking to her. And these guys are now running out of breath. You can see like their veins popping out of their head and getting blue. I was like, man, they better move, otherwise these guys will collapse right here. And they're like, They even stop their conversation. They're just stopping and pretending like they're going to talk. And the second the Mataji walks away, and the belly comes out. But this is actually this is actually proven fact. Psychologists say just a brief contact with an opposite gender, it disturbs the consciousness, disturbs the mind. That's why brahmacharya is so important. And brahmacharya is not specifically just for the ashram. It means brahmacharya as a practice. Brahmacharya means retaining the vital fluid and at the same time indulging your mind intelligence in contemplating on thoughts of the Supreme. That is brahmacharya. It's not necessarily that you shave up your head, look very nice like Sushant Prabhu or Ed Prabhu, and join the ashram. That is good. But you can be brahmacharya throughout your life. You see, we think Grihastha ashram is for enjoyment, right? But where in the Vedic Shastras is it mentioned that Grihastha ashram is for enjoyment? Where? It is said that Grihastha ashram there is limited sex life, there's controlled sex life. And then after 50, everyone has to take Vanaprastha. They have to give up their wife. My Guru Maharaj, Srila Radha Govind Maharaj, he says, the strongest attachment for any man is his wife and children. Because all other attachments he can give up after some point. The car mortgage he's not able to pay, he'll end up selling the car. Home loan he can't pay, he can move into a smaller home. But the strongest attachment is wife and kids. Strongest. Even after understanding everything, even after being completely self-realized, he will be grabbed on by that. What happened with Dhritarashtra? He had full knowledge. Vidura was angry at him. Why? Because Dhritarashtra was not a fool. Dhritarashtra was actually very knowledgeable. He was the brother of Pandu. Look at his heritage, look at his bloodline. He was a very great king. And when these sinful activities were being performed by Duryodhan, right? Duryodhan was just committing sinful activities. Vidura couldn't stand it anymore. In the court, in front of everybody, he pointed at Duryodhan and he said, "This is a curse on your family." He was telling it to Dhritarashtra. This person is a curse to your family. He is born, but the day he was born, asses were braying, all inauspicious signs were seen. There was blood raining from the sky. There were vultures roaming around. And in Vedic times, people could read inauspicious signs and understand what it meant. And he said, this will cause the destruction of your entire family, of your entire kul. Get rid of him. Why is he here? Vidura before that was walking away. He said, I'm not going to even get involved in this fight. I can't see so much injustice. But Dhritarashtra, out of love for his brother, and because Dhritarashtra knew that Vidura was the only one who was giving him true, real knowledge, he requested, "Oh my dear Vidura, please come back. Please come back. I need your advice. I need your guidance. I'm suffering. I'm in trouble. I'm tensed. What should I do? How will I save myself from this calamity? Please give me your advice." Now this time when Vidura came, he wasn't holding any barriers. Right? He was done. And there's a movie where a person has a very annoying boss. And throughout while he's employed, his boss is saying something and his mind is like, and then he's holding himself back. That no, I'm employed. And finally he finds a better job, right? And this time the boss tries to do again, irritate him, do his daily ritual. The boss says something, "Oh, you fool," he reprimands him, he gives him an order, "You do this, you do that." This time the guy has there's no barriers holding him. He goes all in. He stamps on his desk and he says, "You are a rascal." He gets up and the boss is like, "Huh?" And he just vents out. He says, "I hate this about you," and he starts insulting the entire office. And then finally he throws his laptop on the ground and says, "I quit," and he leaves like that. Then after that, it turns out that he doesn't get the other job. So he comes up to the boss and says, sorry, Sumit, I made a mistake. But that's what happened. When Vidura realized that I don't care anymore, I'm done with this attachment with this Kauravas, I'm done with my allegiance with these Kauravas. He goes and then he goes full on 100% truth. He gives voltage of truth. And he insults Duryodhan in front of the entire court. He gives the truth. He's not even saying it in a spiteful way. He's saying it because that's the truth. Duryodhan is causing calamities. They pulled the hair of Draupadi. Bhima alone could have eaten up the entire court that day. Right? But he says, how can you commit such sins? And Dhritarashtra, are you blind? I know you're blind physically, but are you spiritually blind? Is your intelligence also blind? He starts saying all this. Then Duryodhan has it. Duryodhan is anyways a very, it's like a firecracker. In Diwali, when we have to burst crackers, there's one cracker called Lakshmi bomb. I don't know why it's called Lakshmi bomb, but there's like, it's got like some gunpowder inside, and it's like a small cotton wick, and you have to light it. And the thing with Lakshmi bomb is, the second you light it, it takes like 3 seconds to blast. So you have to light it and run quickly. So we used to play this game during Diwali. We used to light it and run immediately, and then we used to see not lit. One of my friends went, and the second he went close, it burst in front of him. So he was like, oh, all of that. So he was like a Lakshmi bomb. He used to burst very quickly. So all he needed was Vidura to call him a rascal. Duryodhan just got up and he said, get this disgusting Shudra out of this court. Who allowed the son of a maidservant, son of a Suta, to come in front of me and stand over here? This is a Pakshpati. He doesn't know which team he is playing for. He's eating our food, he's eating our grains, and now he's supporting the Pandavas. Throughout, he's always been supporting the Pandavas. I know very well. When we were burning the Pandavas in the palace, in the Lakshagraha, he was the one who actually hinted, he was the one who told Yudhishthir that the palace was going to burn, and he had let them escape. He has been supporting all these Pandavas. Who called him here? Who gave him the right to come here? No, it was actually Dhritarashtra who gave him the right. Dhritarashtra could have said, shut up Duryodhan, sit down, I called him here. He was the father, he was the king. He had the right to do it. But look at the family attachment. He was so attached to family, in spite of seeing so much injustice happening, he just kept quiet, he kept silent. He just had a sad face. And Vidura was actually happy. Vidura was not sad. Don't think that just because Duryodhan was insulting him, Vidura was feeling hurt. More self-realized person doesn't have a false ego. A person with a false ego, you say something small to them, they'll get triggered very quickly. They'll start firing back at you. But a great person, like I was seeing Amarendra Prabhu, he was giving a lecture, and couple of people might be yawning or chit-chatting or something, and usually would say, hey, don't yawn, right? Why are you yawning? Why are you looking at your phone? But Amarendra Prabhu says, I apologize that I'm boring you. I'm a very boring speaker. And this is Amarendra Prabhu. People, other temples, die for literally getting Amarendra Prabhu to give a Bhagavatam Sapta or something like that. And that Amarendra Prabhu is bowing down and saying, sorry, I'm a very boring speaker. I apologize if I've wasted your time. And he's so humble. Why? Because an intelligent person, he knows how to deal things with maturity. He doesn't get affected. His ego doesn't get hurt very quickly. He is in his real ego. Vidura was not affected by this. Vidura happily, even though externally he was pretending like he was very frustrated. He gave up his bow and all of that. Inside he was rejoicing. He said, finally, now I can go to the Tirtha. Yeah. So, Vidura was very excited, very happy. How did I start this entire thing? The first bit. Family attachment, correct. So we can see family attachment. Dhritarashtra was so attached to his family, and at the end what happened? Every day Sanjay used to go to Dhritarashtra giving him a bad news. Today this person died. Oh, hi. He started crying on the floor, hitting him. Today, Bhima tore Dushasan's chest and drank his blood. Oh, hi, my son. Every day he used to cry like that. And there's a statement given in the Mahabharata that even Sanjay didn't feel remorse for Dhritarashtra. Because Sanjay also before the war he was saying, just tell them to stop fighting. Why are you telling them to fight? Just tell them to stop fighting. He was a servant. He didn't have the adhikar to actually tell him. But yet he was so compassionate towards Dhritarashtra. He had been serving Dhritarashtra. They had built an attachment for him. He said, please, just tell them to stop. You are the king. You can tell Duryodhan to stop. If you put your foot down, this entire war can be stopped. But Dhritarashtra didn't listen. And then every day he used to cry, oh, my son died, oh, this happened, that happened. Right? And in fact, if you see him in the Bhagavad Gita, you'll see a recurring theme. How does the Bhagavad Gita start? How does the Bhagavad Gita, what is the first sloka? Dharmashetra, Kurukshetra, Samaveta, Yutsava, Mamaka, Pandavascheva, Kim Makurvata Sanjaya. And how does the Bhagavad Gita end? The Bhagavad Gita starts with Dhritarashtra inquiring from Sanjaya, Dhritarashtra Uvacha, that Dharmashetra, Kurukshetra, Samaveta, Yutsava, Mamaka, Pandavascheva, Kim Makurvata Sanjaya. My sons and the Pandavas are warring. What is the scenario? Please describe the battlefield. Right? And how does Sanjaya? Sanjaya knows the intention of Dhritarashtra asking this question. How does Sanjaya end the Bhagavad Gita? 18.78. Yatya Yogeshwara Krishna Yatra Partha Dhananjaya Tatra Shrir Vijaya Bhuti Dhruva Nitirmatir Mama. Wherever there is Yogeshwar Krishna, wherever there is the Dhanurdhara Partha, wherever there is Arjuna who holds the bow, who's the greatest archer, there's what Tatra Shrir, there's Lakshmi, there's fortune. Shri Vijaya, there's victory. Bhutir Dhruvanitir Matir Mama. This is my opinion. I know for a fact he's giving his stamp. Why? He's just breaking that false attachment of Dhritarashtra. That you're so concerned about your family. Mamaka Pandavas Chaiva. Tatra Shrir Vijayur Bhute Dhruvanitir Matir Mama. He's breaking his attachment. And Prabhupada writes that because of this family attachment, because of the attachment of sex, attachment to the opposite gender, man then takes up more identities. Once you have a wife, then you'll have to have a home. Then your wife will say, oh, or your partner will say, let's be gender equal, it's 2025. The partner will say, oh, but you're working, oh, what kind of job? This guy earns so much more than you. And the man's ego gets hurt. He says, oh, what? 35,000 a year, he's earning more than me? I'll start working. He starts working like an ass, like a donkey, day and night. Then his wife says, oh, but Sharma ji has a Ferrari, what car do you have? He looks at his Toyota and he starts crying and he says, I have to work hard, and he works hard for his car. Right? Then he has sons. And when the child comes, you'll see so much competition. Oh, but our neighbor's son, he's doing swimming classes and boxing classes. What is our son doing? Father will say, oh, I have to do something. He'll put him in 10 more classes. And after all of this, when the father is finally 60, 70 years old, when he's worked his entire life just to get all of these things, right? At the end, he goes to his wife and sons and says, are you happy? Was I a good father? Was I a good husband? Did I make you satisfied? And this, Radha Govind Maharaj says, तुमने तो कुछ किया ही नहीं हमारे लिए. You never did anything only for us. Huh? What have you done for us? Everybody's enjoying more than it. It's the nature of family attachment that no matter how much you do, at the end there will always be dissatisfaction. They will never be happy with you. There will never be a time where your wife will say, oh thank you, or your husband will say, oh thank you, you've done so much for me, all my desires are fulfilled. Impossible. Not possible only. Right? There's always going to be dissatisfaction, always going to be unhappiness. And look at how much struggle is there. Right? I was seeing how much people struggle actually. When we go on books, I was going in an industrial, corporate area. People don't even have time to eat. In villages, even though they're working as, farmers, agriculturists, they have 3 times good meal. They have rice, dal, sabji, achar, everything made fresh from the farm which they have grown. Organic, tasty, delicious food. They have a wife who's always with them, who's taking care of them, massaging their body when they need to. They have children. They have everything. And still people think, oh, these guys are poor. The guy in the city, the big businessman, he thinks, oh, these poor guys, they don't have any enjoyment. But what is this guy in the city who's working 9 to 5, traveling 1 hour in the train, then, listening to nonsense from his boss, then getting dejected by his wife and family throughout. What does that guy doesn't even have time to eat. He doesn't have time to eat also. I've seen literally people in my office, they were in one meeting, then they had to go to another meeting, and they had 5 minutes toilet break. And in that toilet break, he had to decide, should I take lunch or should I go to the toilet? And then he quickly goes to a petrol station, gets one of those, those cheap, pathetic, ready-made, frozen food which you put in the microwave. He's eating that as lunch. All the people were jealous of me because I used to come in the morning for Mangala Aarti. I used to pack Vishnu Prabhu, Vanmali Prabhu used to give nice prasad. I used to take it in the office and I'm taking, and the smell of prasad is so intoxicating. All of them says, Ayush, what is that food? It looks delicious, delicious. And they're eating like some dried vegetables or some boring, dull thing. They don't even have time to eat properly. This is the condition of so-called modern man. And where does all of this illusion start from? This starts from sex life, because the more you are attracted to opposite gender, the more identities you take. And Prabhupada says that ultimately the highest level of sex attachment reaches to Mayavadi stage. Because what a Mayavadi is trying to do, right? If you see a materialist, he is trying to expand himself. The very word stri in Sanskrit means to expand. Why? Because a man tries to expand his false ego through his wife, through his children, right? Like we see in third canto, when Devahuti is requesting Kardama Muni that please at least give me an offspring. And Prabhupada writes in the purport that the reason she's asking for an offspring is because the son is said to be an expansion of the father. So when the father or the husband is not there, the son will look after her. So Mayavadis, they're so intoxicated with this attachment, this material attachment. Now they say, you know what, I don't even care about family, cars, I don't want all of that. I want to become God. And when you want to become God, you can concoct your own philosophy and give arguments. There's this very famous Mayavadi, I don't want to name him because it will become controversial, but he's saying, Dasharath. What does Dashrath mean? Dashrath was not a person. No, don't think Dashrath was a historical girl. Dashrath is the 10 types of attachments we have. What does Ram mean? Ram is the Brahman, the impersonal Brahman. And when we meditate on the impersonal Brahman, Ram will cut off the heads of Ravana. Some nonsense, like I didn't even pay attention to what he was saying. Why? Because they want to become God. See, ultimately even the Mayavadi has material desire. And his material desire is, how can I be the enjoyer? How can I become God? So concoct your own ideas. In India, you'll see, Nepal, you'll see it's very prominent. You have all of these Naga sadhus. Rascals number one. Why? Because they just pretend to be Naga. There might be some genuine ones, but they don't appear in front of common people. In Kumbh Mela, you might see them. But in generally, these Naga sadhus, the pretending Naga sadhus, what they do is, I've seen in Nepal, it's very prominent. Even in Himachal Pradesh, that's very prominent. They smoke ganja, they smoke weed. And they think that, I'm following the footsteps of our glorious Lord Shiva. Really? This is copying Lord Shiva, being a drunk. They'll be intoxicating throughout the time. They have those bhang, golas or whatever. They'll be taking one intoxication after the other. They will go roam around like that, naked completely with long hair. And they'll pretend like they're doing some mystical performances. They'll do, give somebody some nonsense they do. I've seen these guys, right? They'll drink tea, coffee, and they pretend to be their logic is that we have already reached the stage of Brahma Bhuta. We have reached the Brahma Bhuta stage. We are completely self-realized. So now we can do anything we feel like and it will not affect us. We can smoke ganja, we can drink liquor, but we are not doing it like a materialist. We are already self-realized. But the very point of being self-realized is now you understand you rise above these cheap material attractions. So you can clearly see these Mayavadis are so attached to material enjoyment. I was recently reading about Devahuti's lamentation. It's a very interesting chapter. Because Devahuti is the daughter of Swayambhuva Manu, the first Manu in this material creation. And Kardama Muni, at first, due to his austerities and penances, he's able to invoke the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Description is given beautiful. Namo Pankaja Netraya. He has beautiful lotus-like eyes. His eye, the moist texture of his eye is making even the lotus petals feel they are wilting in front of Lord's beautiful eyes. The Lord's beautiful Vajanti Mala, the beautiful Kaustubh Muni is shining bright, is brighter than the sun. And the Lord with a smile that can make millions of cupids faint. He smiles at Kadamba Muni and he says, I'm very pleased with your austerity. Ask me for a boon. And Kadamba Muni first actually acknowledges the fact that the ultimate goal of life is to attain the Supreme Lord. But he says, in spite of that, I have a small material desire which I'm requesting you to fulfill. I really desire a wife. Why? Because he's Prajāpati. Prajāpati means to create praja, to create progeny. So he requests the Lord that please give me a good wife, a wife of similar status, who has the same consciousness as me. And why is that important? Because Prabhupada writes in the purport, if the husband is Krishna conscious, the husband is into bhakti, and the wife is doing material things, let's watch Netflix, the match will not work at all. It will destroy the husband's bhakti and the wife will pull him more and more into material attachment. That's why if both the husband and wife are devotee, it will be very beautiful. Because both can assist each other. So Kardama Muni was such an elevated sage. He was requesting the Lord that please give me a wife who is suitable for my mentality, for my consciousness. And Prabhupada writes one more interesting thing in the purport. He says, even for material desires, we should pray to the Supreme Lord. We should pray to Krishna. A lot of us, especially I'm from Bengal, you'll see in Bengal, Kali Puja and Durga Puja is very prominent. They're saying, Ami to Durga Bhakt, people say in Bengali. Huh? And I only worship Kali, I only worship Durga. And Prabhupada writes they're actually being fooled by Kali and Durga. Why? Because they are worshipping material energy for material boons, not realizing that these same material boons are, putting them in the bondage. You think that you're getting something, but actually Ma Durga is just putting a handcuff on you and tying you to material life. We think that by praying to, when you request Krishna for any material gain, Krishna will give you that, but at the same time he will remove the material attachment. So ultimately whatever material gain that Krishna bestows upon you, he will give you in such a way that it will bring you more closer to him. I have practical experience of this. I've seen there's one very famous devotee. There's one devotee in our temple. I don't want to name him because he might feel bad. But he was looking for a house, right? He was desperately looking for a house near North Sydney. And he had everything done in Parramatta. And he just came to Krishna and he requested him on the last day when he was about to sign his bond, 2 hours before he was going to sign his bond. He said, before doing anything auspicious, let me at least take the blessings of Gopinath. So he comes to Gopinath and he begs that please give me I want to stay close to you, I want to stay in your proximity, please, please, please. The second he comes out, he was literally telling me, he took Charanamrit, he walked out. In the restaurant, somebody approached him and said, hey, Prabhu, you were looking for a flat, right? Our flatmate recently went back to Nepal, you can move in. And 2 hours before, if he had signed, he would have never been able to stay near. Now he stays 5 minutes away from the temple. So what happened? He asked for a material gain and Krishna gave it to him. But it's not like he got attached to it. It was not like, oh, my beautiful apartment. No. That material gain helped him progress in his bhakti. That is why Krishna is so beautiful. Everything about him is good. Even if he gives you a material benediction, that material benediction will bring you closer to Krishna. They say that Vishnu has in his forearm Shankha, Chakra, Gada, Padma. And the Shankha and the Padma is said to be for the devotees. And the Gada and the Chakra is said to be for the demons. But Krishna is all Satchidananda Vigraha. Ishvara Parma Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha. Anadiradir Govinda Sarva Karana. Yeah. Sarva Karana Karanam. That Ishvara is Satchidananda Vigraha. Even the Shankha, when he kills Shishupal with his Chakra, or when he offers a lotus, he accepts a lotus from Gajendra, both of them are equal. Both of them get liberation. That is how merciful the Lord is. Hey Krishna, Karuna Sindhu, Dina Bandhu Jagatpate, Gopesha, Gopika Kanta, Radha Kanta Namostute. Krishna is so merciful. He will give you any benediction. So Kardama Muni is asking for a beautiful wife from Krishna, somebody who matches his status. And the difference between us and Kardama Muni is, when we ask Krishna for a wife, we are asking it for enjoyment, our own sense enjoyment. But Kardama Muni was asking because it was his duty to perform progeny. And he wanted to take up the seva better. So he was requesting Krishna that, Krishna, please enable me, give me a good wife who matches my consciousness, so that when the consciousness is matched, we can have beautiful offsprings, who can then further take on this creation that Lord Brahmā has done. Right? Even you see, even in his material desire, there is desire for service, desire for transcendental loving devotional service. And Lord smiles and he says that now the daughter of Swayambha Manu, Devahuti will come and approach you. Now, when Devahuti comes, I'll skip that entire chapter where they meet and they offer praises to each other. Devahuti is so much in love with Kardama Muni because she had heard the glories of Kardama Muni. And a duty of a wife, Brahmacharya ashram is said to be very good for male. But for females, being a faithful wife is the highest dharma. If you can be a chaste wife, that's the highest dharma. And chaste wife means not even in your mind should you even think of another person. You should be able to, you should see that your husband, if your husband is Krishna conscious, your husband is a devotee, and you're enabling him, you're assisting him in performing his devotional service, the wife gets the same gain. Let's say the husband stands 32 rounds and the wife doesn't get time because she's so busy in her household affairs. the wife will get the same benefit that the husband gets of 32 rounds, equally. It's not like it's divided. It's not like 16 goes to the husband, 16 goes to her. No. Both the husband and wife get equal benefit of 32 rounds. That is how merciful the Lord is. So Devahuti was so sincere, so faithful, that she used to serve Kardama Muni all the time. Any small need that he had, she used to fulfill it. She used to, there are two qualities of a good wife. One is Gauravena and one is Vishrambhena. Gauravena is always look with great awe and reverence at your husband. Always, serve the husband with great awe and reverence. Seeing it as a duty that you're doing to the Lord. That the Lord has bestowed this beautiful family upon me. It's my duty to the Lord that I can serve my family. Right? And the second one is tolerance. Sometimes there might be little disruptions, fights between husband, wife, between family members, father, son. But to tolerate that is a good quality. And Devahuti had both these qualities to the max. Devahuti's hair had become fully braided. It was unsettled. Her eyes had become dark. She had become thin, skinny. You could see her bones. She had lost all her attractive features because she had forgotten about her own, maintenance. And she was only thinking about Kardama Muni's maintenance. And she used to serve him day and night. And when Kardama Muni saw that, he was actually feeling very sad. He felt a lot of compassion towards her. And she said, my dear husband, I have only one request. I have served you for so many years, and my mind has been completely absorbed in your requirements, in your needs, in your service. But I have just one small request. You are, oh, greatest of all sages. Oh, the great Rishi Kardama Muni. Please, kindly bestow a child to me. And it is given that she requests for a child because of, again, devotional service to the Lord. Because they are Prajāpatis, they are supposed to create progeny. Kardama Muni was such a powerful yogi. This was many yugas ago. That time we don't know the ability of these yogis. Just through his meditation, he could create a beautiful, it's said to be, you can't even describe it. In today's time, people will just not even be able to understand. But it's like almost like a castle in the sky. It's like an aeroplane / castle. It's a flying castle which can travel into space. It had all sorts of palaces with beautiful gemstones. Gemstones so powerful it was compared to the palaces that Krishna had made for his wives in Dwarka. It was so bright, these gems in the pillars were so bright that even during night time you don't need electric bulbs. You don't need any light because the stones were so bright it could just shine and reflect so much light. Beautiful gardens with all types of lilies and lotuses and all types of auspicious birds like swans, like white pigeons. And they used to just, make the entire atmosphere beautiful with their beautiful noises, the singing. And in that, it's very funny when I was reading. When Kardama Muni sees his own creation, like through his yogic power, he sees this castle, he is himself shocked. He's like, wait, I created this? And Prabhupada writes, this is the ability. And we should not be wondering that what nonsense is this? How can somebody just create a castle? Actually, this is possible. Prabhupada says that if the Supreme Personality of Godhead can create so many castles that are floating in space. Forget about castles, he's creating so many planets within there, so many countries within which there are so many towns within which there are so many properties. There's so many things all floating in space. Then a great devotee of the Lord who's been performing such great austerities, he can't create even one castle, he can't even make even one castle float. Hence, we see Kardama Muni, through his abilities, he creates this castle. And when Devahuti sees this beautiful castle, she is shocked. She feels embarrassed. And Kardama Muni can read her mind. So he gives her instructions. That you take a dip in the holy water, go to Bindu Sarovar, take a dip. It will make you, because she had lost all of her attractive features. She wanted to invoke the mode of passion so that the sex desire can be invoked, so that there is progeny. So he says you go to the Bindu Sarovar, take a dip, and when you come out, you'll see you're purified. You'll be in a better state. And she goes to the Bindu Sarovar. She takes a dip in the beautiful waters of Mother Saraswati. And when she goes underneath, there are thousands of maidservants who are actually ready to serve her. And they, put beautiful oils and ointments and fragrances and give her beautiful ornaments and dresses. The second she comes out, she's, compared to an Apsara in the Swargaloka. People are just shocked, mesmerized by her. In fact, even Kardama Muni was such a great sage who was Jitendra, had won over all his senses. Even he was invoked with passion when he saw her. And then they travel all over the universe, right? Through their Viman. They're flying, they go to Mount Sumeru, which is between the earth and the sun. They stay over there for many years, they enjoy together. Then they go to all these beautiful areas, beautiful mountains and, it's very scenic places. The typical honeymoon, which people imagine they were doing. Now, one thing is interesting is, Kardama Muni was not at all attached throughout. Kardama Muni had taken a vow that the second I give you a child, I will walk away. I will take sannyas. Because Kardama Muni's mind was fixed on the Supreme Lord. He was fixed on Krishna. He knew that the purpose of my life is to attain Krishna. Just to enable that, he wanted to create some progeny, just to perform his service. And he knew once my service is over, I'll move on to the next one. Not like when you go on book distribution, sometimes you might be approached by somebody who's attractive, the opposite nature. We should not feel attracted to her. We should know that our goal is higher than that. We should go into the house of Maya without getting attached to Maya. That is the quality. Once, I think you were in Bhakti Shastri class, like Himanga Prabhu says, Himanga Chaitanya Prabhu very beautifully says, some devotees were asking Prabhupada, that Prabhupada, can we go and distribute books in a nightclub? And Prabhupada laughs and says, yes you can, but make sure you come back also. Don't stay in the nightclub. So we should be, for our service, we should be willing to enter the heart of Maya, but not get affected by Maya. That's why we need strong sadhana. That's why we need to wake up early and chant around and read our books to create strong sadhana. Kardama Muni, after having the greatest material enjoyment, it said so many autumns, 1,000 autumns just flew by. It felt like a blink of the eye. Because when you're in enjoyment, when you're having a good day, you'll see that day gets over very quickly. You'll say, Khatam ho gaya. Over so quickly. How did it go by? And when you're having a bad day, it'll feel like it'll just feel dry. You'll just feel, when will Ayush finish his Bhagavatam class? That's so boring. Huh? So when you're having a bad day, it'll feel like a drag. But when you're having a good class, when Chandan Prabhu or Edward Prabhu or somebody is giving a class, right, you'll feel like, wow, this time went by so quick. I wish I could sit more. Yesterday, Sriman Narsingh Prabhu was giving a class. It felt so short, I wanted to just sit and listen. It was so relishable. Right? So 1,000 autumns went away. And finally, Devahuti had 9 children by Kardama Muni. One more interesting thing given in our scriptures is that the semen, when it enters the woman's ovum, if it's the first, like if there are twins, right? There are 2 droplets of semen that enter the woman's ovum. And the first droplet that enters is the second born. And the second droplet that enters is the first born. That's what happened with Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha. Actually, if you see, Hiranyakashipu was the elder brother because he was first conceived, impregnated in Diti. But Hiranyaksha was born first. Why? Because it's given in the scriptures, it works like that. And when the male is more attracted to the female, when the male's passion is more than the female, a male child is born. And when the female's attraction is more towards the male, a female child is born. It is given in the scriptures. All of this is Shastric. Right? So all this while, Devahuti is described as one who's over enthusiastic about sex. This is given, there's a one word also. I forgot the word, but it's there in the 3rd canto. So she had 9 daughters. And then finally, after so much enjoyment, Devahuti starts lamenting. He said, oh, what a fool am I. I had such a great husband as Kardama Muni. One who's completely self-realized. Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Shastra Koe. Lava Matra Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Siddhi Hoye. That I had Sadhu Sangha, I had association. I could have got the highest perfection of life. I could have advanced in my bhakti, in my adhyatmak jivan. But instead, what did I do? I just simply gratified my senses like an animal. And now she's lamenting. Because why? Kardama Muni's deal was, the second I begot children in you, I will walk out, I will take sannyas, I will go into tapasya. And now she's lamenting. She said, please, I've wasted my entire time with you, entire relationship with you in sense enjoyment, while I forgot the main important point that I could have actually, attained self-realization, attained the Supreme through your association. You're Kardama Muni, you're such a great, you're directly born from Brahma. We are all born from something or the other. She is directly born from Brahma. That is how potent Kardama Muni was. So she is lamenting and she says, Kardama Muni, please give me fearlessness. Give me the ability to feel fearless. And Kardama Muni smiles and he says, actually the Supreme Lord already predicted what was going to happen. And he said, now I will bestow upon you a child who is non-different from the Supreme Lord. And he will instruct you on how to get out of this knot of material life. It is said that Devahuti's material attachment was like a tight knot, a threefold knot. You know, anybody who's done mountaineering or mountain climbing, rock climbing, there are different types of knot they teach you. Out of which the threefold knot is the tightest. You will see those threefold knot, it's impossible to remove. It's very, very hard. People who are climbing Everest and all of that or hiking, they use the threefold knot. So material life is like that. It's got a threefold, it's like a threefold knot. And your son, Kapila, will be able to destroy that. That was the potency. And he is also giving an assurance. See, a woman throughout her life needs to be protected. Either by, in the beginning when she's a small child, by a father. Right? It's the father's duty to make sure that she gets good education, she's protected by all these evil people in the society. Later on by the husband. And finally by the elder son. So, Kardama Muni bestows upon her this benediction and he says, now you will have a son who is going to be non-different from the Supreme Lord and give you instructions. Now the interesting part of this is how self-realized Devahuti was. This is the glories of Devahuti. In spite of enjoying so much sense gratification, in spite of having the strongest material attachment, she was able to realize that the ultimate purpose of life is to attain the lotus feet of Krishna. And she started making endeavors. This is what we need to realize. We might find material life sometimes tempting us, calling us towards. It's like a bed of, Amoglila Prabhu says, material Maya is like a bed of roses. You know, when you see a bed of roses, you're like, wow, you know, you immediately want to just jump and lie on it. But it's like a bed of roses covering a well. So the second you jump, you actually fall down hard and you cry, ooh, what happened to me? That is Maya. Externally, look very nice. Hey, it looks so nice. Why don't you talk to her? Why do you want to perform this devotion? Why do you want to chant all of this Hare Krishna nonsense? Go enjoy your senses. Ekadashi? What is Ekadashi? All of this is superstition. What is Ekadashi? There's one famous thing. It's 9 o'clock somewhere, right? Which means that people will break their fast or break their, the time period, saying that in America it's 9 o'clock. So I'm following America's standard time, even though they're sitting in Australia. Let's do all of this now. I saw one guy, he's eating pizza and all that. I said, hey, Prabhu, it's Ekadashi. I said, Prabhu, in America it's not Ekadashi. Rascal, right? It'll tempt you. For materialists are already sitting in the lap of Maya. Maya doesn't even need to work hard for them. It's easy job for Maya. One very famous speaker was saying, when you're in a boxing match, right? And the opponent, just by slapping him, he fall down and cry, please, stop. The boxer won't put any energy. There's one fighter, Mike Tyson. He had one opponent, he just did this and the opponent went back. And he quit. He ran away from the match only. He didn't even fight. He didn't even use any physical substance. He just did like this, trying to scare him. And Mike Tyson was very intimidating. Just by seeing that, he got scared, and he ran away. He told the referee, I quit. He threw in the towel. And whereas there were some fighters that actually gave Mike Tyson a very strong fight. They knocked out Mike Tyson also once. So Maya is also like that. If you are very easily, Maya will tell you, smoke that cigarette, or drink that alcohol, or talk to that opposite gender. Do this enjoyment. Watch this movie. Why do you want to work? Just watch movie. And if he easily given, okay, let's do it. Then Maya will not even put that much effort. It's like, he's a lost case anyways. I know he's in my lap. I can defeat him anytime. But when you start taking up to devotional service, now you're actually giving Maya a tough fight. When a boxer gets punched, a very strong boxer gets punched. I saw Mike Tyson get punched the first time in a boxing match. He shook his head and for 2 minutes he's like, wow, okay, game on. And then he, rolled his neck and he started. That's what happens when we take up to devotional service. There was first time when our mind says, hey, do that. And we say, no. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Those three Prabhus didn't raise their hands, so we'll do again. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Prabhu's just side note, this is the men's section. You can sit here if you want. Because class is nearly about to end. If you want to sit, that's fine. But in general, this is the Mataji section. So if you want to. So if we take up to devotional service, Maya gets scared. We start punching back to Maya. Oh, eat this. What is Ekadashi? Eat this. No. Vrata, Nirjala. Maya gets scared. She starts shaking. Now Maya becomes even stronger. Now Maya plays a disguise. Maya becomes like Ravana. What happened when Ravana came? Ravana didn't come as the 10-headed, Bhakta of Shiva who sang Shiva Tanda Stotram, with his big biceps and walking. He came as a humble Brahmana. Bhiksham Dehi, Devi, Bhiksham Dehi. He acts like that. Maya also comes like that. Bhiksham Dehi, Prabhu Hare Krishna. Prabhu, you can chant, just do it in the evening. Right now, have you seen on YouTube your feed? Look at this new movie trailer. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. See Instagram, this photo is Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Is that Mangala Sweets? Hare Krishna, Hare. After a point, you'll keep it, you'll leave the thing and you'll go and, indulge in sense gratification. So Maya is more tough. But fortunately, Krishna Surya Saman, Maya hoche andhikar. Jaha Surya taha nahi, Maya radhikar. That Krishna is like the sun and Maya is like darkness. You can either be in light or darkness. There's no in between. You can either be in sunlight or you can be in darkness. Actually, Krishna's mercy is for all of us. It's not like the people who have bald head and tilak on the head. Krishna is only saying, oh, you guys are in my team. The rest of you long hair people, I'm not talking to you. It's not like that. Krishna is like sunlight. He's for everybody. Every corner of the world is sunlight. You go to Nepal, Kathmandu, you go to Nepal, Pokhara, you go to Australia, you go to Darwin, Northern Territory. Everywhere you'll see sunlight. But it is us who see the sunlight and say, oh, and we go into darkness. So the day we decide that we want to actually follow, we have done enough with Maya. We have, fall into the trap of Maya too many times. Now we want to follow and reach devotional service, which is the highest achievement in this human life. Then we realize what is the ultimate goal. There was one scientist who experimented a lot throughout his life. He used a lot of his brains, all this evolution theory, all of that. And finally somebody gave him Vedas, Puranas. And as he read it, in the interview, somebody asked the scientist, he's a German scientist, he has no idea about all our, Shastras. When somebody asked him, so have you figured out how the universe works? Have you found out the intricacies of life? Do you know how destruction happens? This German scientist, he laughs, he smiles, and he says, Om Namah Shivaya, and he walks away. Which means what? Even the greatest scientist, who's supposed to only use logic and mental speculation in his life, even through his mental speculation, when he actually put in 100% of his mental speculation, it brought him to the same goal, the same destination. So the goal is very clear. Ultimately, it's devotional service that will give you the answer to everything. It's just the question of, are you willing to take the first step? And what is the first step? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. This Prabhu again didn't chant, this curly hair Prabhu. Let's chant again. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Chandan Prabhu just walked in. Let's do one for him. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrind ki, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki, Jai Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari.